the album once from a musical standpoint, Nightwish has figured out their formula, and in the case of head songwriter Thomas, they've always tried to see what new things they could do while still retaining that core sound. The four main core components are heavy, symphonic, melodic, and folk. Yes, they have been doing folk even before Troy became a full-time member. And they've had elements of power, gothic, and doom metal added to the mix. So after going as far as they could with the melodic and folk styles in 2011's Imaginarum, I felt as a metalhead that Endless Horror's Most Beautiful, their next effort from 2015, was a step in the right direction. But of course, after that album ended with their most epic, symphonic, and ambitious song yet, what could they do next? The answer? A double album. Disc 1, the Human Disc, scales back the orchestra, and the twist is that Disc 2 is all orchestra, with very little involvement from the band. Is it any good? Well, let's find out. The first track opens with a long intro, kind of like a continuation of where Greatest Show on Earth left off. I could see them opening shows on this next tour of the song, as if you saw them on the Decades tour, they definitely like to start with that slow intro that adds atmosphere and introduces the band members in a curtain call setting. And the song itself starts out kind of soft and it builds up in intensity. Bridge section is where the song really starts to kick ass, and you can start hearing more of Floor's operatic chops. Second track, Noise, the first single off the album, was a song I instantly loved as I heard it. It definitely does represent the overall feel and sound of the album, and the music video is awesome. Where the song kicks ass is a surprise heavy riff in the middle, plus the double bass bridge and the choirs, and I remember thinking, oh hey, this is awesome! Usually a lead single is among the weaker songs off the album, but after getting my hands on the rest, I can safely say that Noise holds up well, and will be a great song to hear live. The third track, Shoemaker, is one that has heavy verses and a soft chorus. I love the inclusion of Kai's double kick during the verses, as it's heavy and melodic at the same time. While they do fit well in this song, I won't mention the harmonics too much yet because it's featured in almost every one of the songs. Fans who love Floor's operatic abilities will also love the ending to this song. The fourth song, Harvest, the second single, is one of the folky songs and has Troy take the center stage with the vocals. The first half and chorus sound like a song you'd hear at church, and yes, I may hate church music, as said in one of my videos, but this song can have great spiritual undertones. The second half, where the rest of the band kicks in, is beautiful, and it's in the same vein as the ending to My Walden. I would definitely deem this one the most accessible song on the album. The fifth song, Pan, it's quite heavy. As a metalhead, this one definitely satisfies my craving, thanks to Impu and Kai being given time to shine. Energy-wise, it goes all over the place, so it sounds both heavenly and hellish at the same time. And after hearing the heavy section with the choirs, with Kai getting a bit more technical, it made me want to go back and hear it again. Sixth song, How's the Heart, the third single, is a more folky song, upbeat in the vein similar to I Want My Tears Back. And if you love Troy's pipes and the Celtic sounding songs by Nightwish, then you'll love this one. It's also catchy enough to be a good sing-along, so I can see why this would be another single. Procession is the closest song to a traditional ballad on this album, but it also is another one that starts soft and builds up intensity. Because of the sad and gloomy tone of it, you really have to dive into the lyrics to appreciate Floor's vocal performances. Tribal is the other headbanger on this album, along with Pan in the same vein as Weak Fantasy. It's both strange, badass, rhythmic, and fitting of its name with great grooves. And as soon as you feel the crunch of Impu's guitars, you definitely want to start air guitaring and banging your head. Even Floor starts to use her aggressive guttural vocals a tad during the chorus. Kai gets a chance to shine in the final minute as he does a more tribal sounding beat, which he says that he actually had to add more to his kit to achieve it. My only complaint is that it's too short. This one will definitely be a crowd pleaser for sure. Endlessness is a doom metal song, kind of like Rest Calm from Imaginarum, but less orchestra and more band. This one has Marco take the lead on the song, which is a welcome break, considering we never really got any big leads from him on the last album. It does sound like a fitting closer to the second disc, but as much as I love Marco, on my first few listens it was not one of the stronger songs on this album in my opinion. When it comes to the first disc, it's definitely the Nightwish we're all familiar with. In terms of their four main components, the album is pretty evenly stretched. So it has the heavy headbangers, the melodic track, and the folky songs to satisfy the fans who like them all. For me, Pan and Tribal were instant favorites for me. Shoemaker, Noise, Harvest, and Music are solid songs as well. How's the Heart is good and catchy enough, but I feel that Procession and Endlessness need to grow more on me. I think scaling back the orchestra only to include brass, strings, and choirs was a smart move, as I felt the last two albums could get a little overkill with the orchestra at times, and it hid the band because of it. This time, the drums are louder, you can feel the bass, you can hear Impu's guitar riffs a lot more, he sounds almost as loud as he used to in the older albums, and that's a plus. For those who felt like Floor was held back on the last album, you definitely can put that fear to rest, as she sounds much more like she does live. Floor's ability are thus showcased a lot more than before, and she definitely belts out the high notes a lot in some of the songs. The inclusion of the harmonic trio on almost every track adds another element, as Nightwish now has 3 proven talented singers, each one adding their own flavor. My only negative about the first disc is that it's pretty safe, and once again does the melodic mid-tempo pace to death. Their 4 main core components are there for sure, but whereas the last album had more of an Oceanborn 1's power metal edge, this one goes back to the Century Child Imaginarum gothic metal edge, and thus there isn't that much speed. I could have used at least one speedy song, or even just a section as a change of pace. At least Century Once and Dark Passion Play had those. And that, my friends, concludes my review for Nightwish Human Nature. Be sure to check out my updated Nightwish Worst to Best Songs video, where I personally rank the new songs, and eventually I will do a Nightwish Worst to Best Albums. I'm your heavy metal astronomer, Desert Coyote 22, and thanks for listening. Oh wait, there's a second disc. The second disc, the Nature disc, is basically one long song, about 30 minutes total split into 8 separate sections. Even the song's title is long, All the Works of Nature which Adorn the World. I know some people will be disappointed to find out that the band is pretty much not on the second disc. This would make the second CD not really listened to on a regular basis for a lot of people who just want to enjoy the band. Anyone who has enjoyed the Imaginarum film score, Thomas Scrooge McDuck's solo album, or his Ari side project with his wife and Troy Donackley, will surely enjoy the second disc. Each section is meant to take you to a different part of Earth, especially where nature's splendor is showcased. As it's meant to be listened from start to finish, you'll hear some of the same notes repeated in different sections. In the interest of saving time, I'm not going to go over each section. You need to listen to it for yourself. Heck, it'll be a great thing to do on a 30-minute scenic trip of your choice. Even for just Symphony, there are parts that get pretty bombastic and heavy, and vice versa. In terms of this disc and this song, sections 2, 4, and 8 definitely serve as great standouts and can be played separately, with my favorite of course being section 8, Ad Astra. If you listen to it without watching that World Health Organization partnership video, it can actually feel like you're traveling through the heavens, considering the narration is a quote from Carl Sagan. I think maybe yours truly should attempt an alternate music video, since Ad Astra is Latin for to the stars. The only chance I could ever see this second disc, or even just sections, actually being played will be if Nightwish ever does a special show with the full orchestra. I mean, if Metallica, Dream Theater Epica, and Within Temptation can do it, why hasn't Nightwish? Either that, or it'll just be used as intermissions, or something on the PA when the band bows to the crowd. Overall, a good listening experience, and if you're in the mood for something different, it's worth checking out. You never know, maybe you'll enjoy it, maybe you won't. It's hard to rank where Human Nature holds up in Nightwish discography. Saying, well, it's better than Angels Fall First is like saying Rise of Skywalker is better than the Star Wars Holiday Special. While Human Nature has its subtle differences that fans will catch, as a whole, it's the Nightwish we're familiar with. I mean, if you were to describe 2 words of this album, it would be, it's Nightwish. As a fan and longtime supporter, when the band does what you expect, it keeps the bar pretty level and it gets harder to raise it. Thus, it makes it harder for newer material to blow you away, like when you first heard their albums from a decade prior. With that said, each song does seem to get better with each listen, and I'd rather have that than the other way around. Overall, it's a good album. The singles weren't weak, but there weren't many major eye-catching, or in this case ear-catching singles like Storytime, Nemo, or Amaranth. Nothing screamed instant top classic on the first listen. But the more I digest it, the more I appreciate the work and performance from all the band members. I will definitely enjoy hearing songs off this album on the next tour, and time will tell if any of them remain staples on the setlist. That is my thoughts on Nightwish Human Nature. I'm your heavy metal astronomer, Desert Coyote 22. Thanks for listening.